Drake vocals always sound expensive. Super smooth, super controlled, wide, emotional, and somehow they still feel really upfront without sounding aggressive. So I did a deep dive to recreate a Drake-inspired vocal chain based on interviews, engineer breakdowns, studio photos, and a lot of reverse engineering. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can get really close to that modern OVO vocal sound. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about the recording chain, because Drake vocals already sound expensive before the mix even starts. And the classic chain everybody always talks about is the Sony C800G going into a Neve 1073, going into a LA2A or a Tube-Tech CL1B. And for this video, I used the CL1B. And that setup gives you a super smooth top end, warm low mids, soft compression, and a super polished tone. So a lot of work has already been done before the vocal even hits the DAW. Now, let's say you want to recreate that vocal chain in your DAW. You can load up a Neve 1073 plugin. This is the one by Universal Audio. This works really good. And if you are working with Universal Audio, you can already load this up in the console like it is a hardware unit and record with these effects. I'm just going to show you what you can do if you don't have the Universal Audio interface and load this up on a vocal track, so you can recreate that recording chain. So with the Neve 1073, you can give the vocal a little bit of saturation with this knob, and you can EQ the vocal a little bit with these knobs. So I'm going to play the vocal a little bit, and then I'm going to give the vocal a little bit of saturation, and I'm going to boost the highs a little bit, and I'm going to roll off the low end on the vocal.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O-A. That's what's up, you be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town. I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice.
So as you can hear, the vocal already sounds a bit more polished and feels a little bit more upfront in the mix. Now, let's add a compressor. This is the Tube-Tech CL1B by Softube, and I'm going to give the vocal a little bit of compression to tame the dynamics a little bit before I'm going to start mixing.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O-A. That's what's up, you be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town. I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O-A. That's what's up, you be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town.
I think something like this is already okay. It's bringing the vocals a little bit more under control. And I don't want to compress a lot. I want to keep it between the 0 and 3 dB of gain reduction, so that the vocal don't feel squashed before I'm going to start mixing. Now that we've recreated the recording chain, let's jump on to the first plugin that will be added as a insert into the DAW, and that's obviously Autotune. Drake usually sits in the middle area where you can hear the tuning without it sounding too robotic. So the goal here isn't perfection, it's more about keeping the vocal controlled while still sounding emotional and natural. And that balance is a huge part of Drake vocals. The best Autotune settings usually feel almost invincible. For this particular chain, the vocalist Benito used these settings. I just copied his settings, so I don't change the way he intended the Autotune. He set it up at a retune speed of 5, which is pretty fast, but he did a lot of flex tune, which makes it sound a bit more natural, just like with the Humanize, and he adjusted the detune over here as well. I'm just going to leave this as it is, and then I'm going into the Pro-Q for the cleanup. And this stage is mostly about removing problems. As you can see, I removed the lows and I removed the low mids, and I removed some frequencies in the upper mids. Here's the vocal without the EQ settings.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low.
And here it is with.
Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O-A. That's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town.
And these are the exact frequencies I removed from the vocal.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O-A. That's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town. I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O.
So these upper mid frequencies were the biggest problem in the vocal, especially this blue band. You can hear it when I disable it, it becomes really harsh.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O-A.
With this EQ band enabled, the vocal feels a lot cleaner, but I noticed that I lost a little bit of presence while I removed these frequencies. So I gave it a little boost with this EQ band.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O-A. That's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town.
And my goal is, when I'm EQing, I don't want to change the way the vocal sounds. I just want to make it cleaner. So I'm removing resonances that are poking out. And if the sound of the vocal changes a little bit, I have to do some additional EQing to give back the vocal its original character. So yeah, this stage is just to clean up the vocal, make everything feel super controlled, and don't change the way the vocal sounds. After that, I do some de-essing, because Drake vocals usually sound really smooth in the top end. There are no painful S sounds and there are no T's poking out. And how you can achieve that is by adding a de-esser on the vocal. I like to add a de-esser before adding a compressor to make sure that the compressor is reacting to the overall frequency spectrum of the vocal and is not reacting to the loud S and T sounds that are poking out. Here's the vocal without and with the de-esser.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O-A. That's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town.
Then it's time for compression, and I've seen that this compressor is mentioned a lot. This is the R-Vox by Waves, and this compressor is probably one of the most important plugins in this entire vocal chain, because Drake's vocals sit super upfront in the mix, and that is something you can achieve really easily with this compressor. The R-Vox helps smooth everything out while keeping the vocal really upfront and stable. It gives you that finished record feeling real quickly. I'm going to show you how you can set it up. I like to use both sliders at the same time. You can press both while holding shift on your keyboard and yeah, just select both sliders. And then you can bring down one slider. As you can see, they do it both. And why I like to use it this way is because when you are lowering the compressor also makes the volume way louder. That is because there is some sort of auto gain on this compressor, and I don't want to trick my ear, so I'm also lowering the gain at the same time, so I have some kind of same volume while adding compression. After you're done compressing, you have to give the vocal a little bit more of gain, so you have the same volume coming in as out of the compressor.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O-A. That's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town. I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O-A. That's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town. I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow.
So as you can hear, the vocal is under control with this compressor and is pushed a little bit more up front in the mix as well. And it is super easy to use because it just has 2 sliders. And I like to stay between 0 and -6 dB of gain reduction. After that, I go into the Saturn 2, which is a saturation plugin, and I don't want it to have a lot of distortion. I just want to give it some subtle harmonics and excitement. And this particular saturation plugin helps me a lot with that because you have a lot of different algorithms. You have this drive knob over here, and you can also adjust the dry wet signal.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-D-O-A. That's what's up, you be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town.
The saturation helps the vocal feel more alive, and as you can see, I don't have a lot of crazy settings. I just gave it a little bit of drive and I dialed back the mix knob over here, and I used the clean tube algorithm because that gives the vocal a little bit more of top end. Then I add the FabFilter Pro-MB, which is a multiband compressor, and this stage is all about consistency because Drake vocals usually stay very stable tonally. The low mids stay controlled, the upper mids stay smooth. That means that the vocal almost keeps the same color the entire performance. So for example, if he sings in a lower pitch, the lower mids stay under control without poking out. And the same for the upper mids. If he sings in a higher pitch or in a higher volume, the upper mids stay smooth as well. Now here's the vocal without multiband compression.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-D-O-A. That's what's up, you be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town. I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-D-O-A. That's what's up, you be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town.
If you want to learn more about how I use multiband compression on vocals, let me know in the comments and I'll make a full video about it. After that, I use the Spectre to give the vocal some extra color. I usually give it a little bit of upper mid frequencies and some air as well. And how I like to dial this in is I like to give it a little bit, choose the algorithm which sounds best, usually warm, tube, or I leave it at solid. And then I'll like to dial back the mix a little bit between 30 and 40% to give it a little bit more natural feel. So let's do that real quick.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-D-O-A. That's what's up, you be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town. I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-D-O-A. That's what's up, you be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town. I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow.
Now sometimes the Spectre feels a little too aggressive for me, and what I do then is I enable de-emphasis, and what this does, it only leaves the added saturation and it mutes the EQ boosts, and this makes these boosts feel a lot smoother.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-D-O-A. that's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town.
And now this plugin is not only to shape the vocal a little bit, but also to make sure that the vocal cuts through the mix a little bit better. Then after adding saturation and presence, I like to use Soothe, because once you start exciting the vocal, resonances suddenly become way more obvious. So I like to use Soothe for a more final polish stage, just to control everything that still feels sharp or annoying. And here is how the vocal sounds without Soothe. And then I'm going to enable Soothe so you can hear what Soothe is doing.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O. Hey, that's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town.
So it's not doing a lot, but it's making the vocal feel way more smooth. And I still felt like the mid frequencies, which I carved out with the EQ in the beginning, still felt a little bit sharp. So by boosting this, I made sure that Soothe is reacting to that area. And then finally the LA to A. At this point the vocal already is super controlled if we have added 2 compressors. Actually 3 if we count the recording compressor as well. So the LA to A is just there to glue everything together and to smooth out the vocal a little bit more.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O. Hey, that's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town. I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O. Hey, that's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town. I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low.
Then we have effects, and effects are a huge part of his vocal sound, because Drake vocals usually sound very dry in the center, but the sides are filled with reverb and some delays, not only to give the vocal some space, but also to make the vocal sound more wide. And here we have a long hall reverb, which I made with this Lexicon 224 digital reverb by Universal Audio, which sounds like this.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O. Hey, that's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town.
I also like to give the vocal a plate reverb, which I made with the pure plate reverb by Universal Audio, which sounds like this.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O. Hey, that's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town.
And I like to give the vocal just enough reverb that it gives it some kind of depth without bringing the vocals backwards. Then I also like to give the vocal some slap delay, just to fill up the little gaps between all the words, which I made with Echo Boy with these settings.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O. Hey, that's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town.
What I like to do with some slap delay is to give it some width and give the left right a little bit of offset so that the delay is in stereo. This makes the vocal sound a little bit more wide while keeping the dry vocal in the middle. Then I like to give the vocal some parallel compression as well. I'm not going to deep dive into what parallel compression is, but basically it's just a super hard compressed copy of your main vocal. And here's a quick before and after.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I'll be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O. Hey, that's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town.
Obviously, there is a little volume bump because you have copied the signal to another channel, but this signal is super squashed, and combining these two gives the vocal some more control feel in the overall dynamics. And what I've also noticed is that they like to add a doubler to give the vocal a little bit more width. Here's a quick before and after.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O. Hey, that's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town.
So now we have had all the effects. Let's do a quick before and after.
I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O. Hey, that's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town. I don't need this, I don't need that. You can shut your mouth, you can shut your trap. Don't address me, I be on the low. Whip it so nice like water I flow. Now let me hear you say it. What's my name? B-E-N-I-T-O. Hey, that's what's up. You be a clown. Please don't pull up when I'm in town. I don't need this.
So as you can hear, the vocal feels richer. There is more presence. There's more top end without it sounding too harsh. And the dynamics are under control without feeling squashed. And the biggest thing about this vocal chain is that almost all plugins are doing small moves. There's no single plugin that is completely transforming or changing the vocal. Layer after layer of subtle control, tiny compression moves, tiny saturation moves, a little bit of resonance control, and together that's what creates that polished, expensive vocal sound. And that sound usually comes from 10 small moves instead of one giant move. So yeah, this is the Drake inspired vocal chain I ended up with after doing some research and reading some articles. And I'm really curious about what you guys think about this vocal chain. Are there some plugins I've missed? Let me know in the comments. And if there are any other artist inspired vocal chains you want to see me break down, let me know in the comments as well. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. I'm Moxie Mappy, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.